Hey, and welcome to the Difference Maker Revolution podcast. And it's Steve and I today. Just the two of us, Steve. They're deserting us, Steve.
Well,
where are you all gone?
It's Friday and everyone's off having fun, I think.
It's well for them. And you and I are, how would you describe us? That we're
the troopers. That's it. We stick around to the end of the week.
We keep on going.
The sun comes out and everybody disappears.
As you said in the last podcast, when there's a wall there, some people go through it, some people go over it, some people go around it, but we're those people, right? We just keep on going.
Charge straight through it. We don't care if there's sun out, we'll keep on going. What are we talking about today, Mr. Ronan?
Apparently we're talking about how to make networking work for you, Steve. So why did we choose that topic?
Well, I think it's because a lot of people seem to go to networking events and they seem to complain that they don't get a lot out of it. And I think have a mindset that it's a way to get their name out, but don't believe that it's in any way a proactive way of marketing their business.
So they think they're brand building, or they think they're a bit like photographers who do social media marketing on Facebook or Instagram alone and don't do any proactive paid ads, right? It's a similar thing, just in person.
Yeah, or sometimes you hear people say, "I booked an expo," and it's mainly to get my name out there. Whereas I've always had the view that if we're going to be going to an expo or we're going to be doing anything, putting our time into it, I don't want one booking. I want multiples of bookings, and if I can, create a stream of bookings. And I feel like the networking situation is the perfect way to do that, because you're building relationships, or we should be building relationships with people.
So Steve, when we were talking about doing trade shows and events like that before, you talked about due diligence, right? So
yeah.
What sort of due diligence would you carry out before you would pick where you're going to network or how you're going to network?
Well, I would look at the types of businesses that are in the group, and look at the reputations of the group. I always recommend to anyone I'm coaching that they go in as a visitor 2 or 3 times, but visit 3 or 4 different, and I'm going to refer to BNI. Let's use an example of BNI. They call them chapters. Visit 3 or 4 different chapters, because I think a lot of people go to one, but it's been their only exposure to what's available. And so they don't get to sample or be a part of a very different group of people. And so if you're visiting 3 or 4 different ones 3 or 4 times, that's 12 visits that you can now compare and work out, well, which group do I personally gel with? Which one do I feel the most comfortable in? Which one do I believe fits my way of interacting with people? And although they have a set way of doing things, every group is very different, and the dynamics, because of the people, change. And so by visiting different chapters, and there's fresh networking group, there's a whole lot of other networking group, there's lots of women's networking groups. The councils run different groups, and in my council back in Australia, they were running networking groups for people that work from home, because they're identifying that people need a way to mix and mingle with other people. And so there's all different sorts of networking groups. I went to an interesting one, which was speed dating, which looked like it said it was like speed dating. Wasn't speed dating, of course, but it allowed us to meet almost everybody in the room, and there were 60 different people there, and it was a one night only, and you can get a lot out of those one night only ones too, because it forces us to take action with the people that we meet. So due diligence, I think visit as many as you can, go to a variety, and then pick those ones that suit your personality, your lifestyle, that you believe have the businesses that you would like to work with and work for. And you've got to get a sense of their values. And if you're in a group where the values are aligned, you can tell, you can pick the vibe in the group. So be discerning. What else have I missed? What would you pick, Ronan?
No, as you were talking there, Steve, you reminded me of a dear friend of mine, Kira Derryberry, who does a lot of headshots for business women.
Yeah.
That was her target client. So she made sure that she embedded herself in business groups in her locality. And, she discovered that there was a magazine specifically for business women. So she did a deal with them to be the photographer for the photography that appeared in the magazine. And, so it was all connected and linked in to who her client avatar was, as to who she identified as to who she wanted to serve and work with. So,
and I think you've got to be really clear as to who your client avatars, plural, are. Because when you're going into these groups, you've got to have that in mind, because you need to be in a group of people that are targeting similar people that you're targeting, because if everyone's not aligned, then you can't feed off each other and you can't leverage off one another. So I think that's really important.
So let's say I do that, Steve, and I identify, the group that I want to join, and the principle of, where does the principle of give first before you receive link into this activity?
Well, I think that's a life lesson, not just a networking or business lesson. We have to give before we receive, and I think that's a great motto that BNI lives by. You have to get curious about helping other businesses, and you've got to get curious about understanding somebody else's business. When I'm coaching people, it astounds me that they've been to BNI for sometimes years, and maybe when they started, they went and visited a few businesses, but then decided that it took up too much of their time, or they weren't getting anything out of it, and so those few businesses that they visited at the start sort of stopped, and then it's been 2 or 3 years since they've done that. And I believe we can learn a lot from visiting other businesses and how they do business, how they identify their avatars, how do they engage with them, what are the things that they do that delight their customers, and how can we bring that into our business? What are the secret things that are working for them right now that we could potentially bring into our business? But most of all, understanding that business's needs, understanding their avatar, understanding how they use the 3 principles of growing a business in their business. Because once we begin to understand that, there's always a problem. And usually it lies with, how do we get our clients to use us more often? And our business is an incredible solution for that problem, for rewarding clients, for building some sort of loyalty program, for helping on that third one of building average sales, becoming an incentive to build average sales. And so once we get curious and we start to talk to that business owner about their business, what's frustrating them in how they're going about building their business, we then could provide a solution for them. And let's take the example of they want to build loyalty and they want a reason to reach out to their clients. We're now heading into Christmas, and so they're looking for a way of thanking their clients and rewarding their clients. They could be purchasing gift certificates from us to give to their clients, maybe at a discounted value. For some people, maybe they're giving them away to that business to then give to their most loyal clients. And if that business is targeting the same avatars that we are, and they're sending it to their best clients, then we're already filtering for people that we're wanting. And usually the conversion rates from leads from potential clients that are coming from those is way higher. I actually had somebody message me the other day saying that at the moment he's really excited. They're getting about 30% conversion from cold sort of leads from traffic. And I don't even believe Facebook's cold, because they're reaching out, they've put up their hand, they've come in, but from their alliances and from their partnerships, which is what we're talking about, building a partnership, their conversion rate's 90%. So I think every business needs a balance of different leads. It's not just one. We need a balance of a variety of leads. We need the easy ones that are going to energize us, and that becomes the foundation of our business. But then we need the filler. It's like the pebbles and sand theory. And then we need the filler. And then that constant stream of new leads, and 30% is still a good conversion rate to fill the gaps. So
Steve, can I rewind a little bit on what you said, right?
Yeah.
And I think I understand where the give first was in the example you just discussed, right? So the give first in the scenario you explained was that you helped them identify what their problem was, which was building some loyalty and getting their clients to come back again.
Yeah.
And let them see then the solution to that is that they can send gift vouchers or gift certificates to their clients as a reward or a present or a reason to give out. So am I right in that it was the consultancy was the give? Because before you said that, I was thinking of, well, does that mean now I have to send their gift certificates to my clients before they send mine to theirs?
That could happen, but it doesn't have to happen. I think the gift, and I probably wasn't clear with my answer, I think the gift is exactly what you said, the consultancy, sitting down with somebody and asking them questions about their business. Like I would walk in usually and say, oh, that's an interesting offer you've got up there. How is that working for you? Oh, that's interesting that you've got a display case over there. Is there a reason why? And just by asking questions, it makes the owners reevaluate and rethink about what they've done. And sometimes they're like, do you know what? We've been meaning to move that. I can't believe you've just pointed that out. And we don't have to know anything about the business. The fact that they get to talk to somebody and have to explain something about their business, they're beginning to rethink about it and re-educate about it and re-educate themselves about why they've done what they've done. By asking them about who their target market is, who's their perfect client, what does that look like? You know, what does that avatar look like? It refreshes in their mind something that they probably haven't thought about ever, or for a very long time. And so it gets them actively thinking about building their business again. And for some, they haven't done that. People haven't done that for a very long time. And so the gift is the fact that we were curious enough to turn up, spend some time, have a conversation with them that is focused on them. And we haven't come in begging and pleading and begging for business for ourselves. We've come in with the intention of helping them. And so if we're going in with that intention of helping them, we have a lot of built-in resource. As photographers, we know so much about Facebook. We know so much about social media. We know so much about photography. We know so much about how things should look aesthetically. So there's a lot that we can offer. And if all you do is walk in and help that person build a better business, that should be your intention.
Yeah.
That next step of what we talked about before, of helping them find a reward program, helping them perhaps reward their clients. It's now leading up to Christmas. It's a perfect time for them to be rewarding their clients. Maybe they're looking for a way of rewarding their best salespeople. And so if they have a team of salespeople and they're the best, why would we not want them to be rewarded with a gift from us to come in and spend their results and bonuses with us? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then depending upon the business, we've sold gift certificates to businesses, and for their top employees, they were buying a gift certificate and spending $1,000 per employee because giving them cash meant it had to be taxed. By giving them a gift, and they planned it just under the different countries have different thresholds, different. I'm sure in America, every state and every city has a different threshold for everything. It always seems to be that the US is almost like multiple countries all living on, under one banner. But if you understand what those thresholds are, then you can go in there informed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I often see photographers, Steve, when they're doing this, when they think about giving, they think they have to give what they do. So they think they have to, create photography for their social media for that business, or they feel they have to give some of what they do as if I call it photography for a second, but they feel that that's what they need to give as and what we've just discussed there is it's not about that. And it shouldn't be about that.
That could be an add-on.
Right.
But I think the mistake photographers make, we as an industry make, is that we don't value what we do enough. Mm. And so we give our photography and we give it with the expectation that something's going to come back, or we give it with the expectation that there'll be some future reward for it, or exposure, or my name used, or for for artist creditation. But there's no communication of value. And so if you're going to do that, my recommendation is that you work out the value of that. And if it's a $2,000 value, and often it is, or a $1,500 or a $3,000 value, then give that person a gift certificate for $2,000 or $3,000. Make that some sort of a proposal, because they need to understand that what they're getting has a value. And unfortunately, the way that most people do this is that they offer to do photography and hope that this person's going to reciprocate. But the value of what they are receiving has never been communicated. And so it's not that person's fault to not understand or realize that they've received a ton of value for nothing. And so if the game changes, and if after starting to, deliver on your promise, that person then decides, well, actually what we really want is this other thing then they can use the value of what you offered them towards whatever the end result of what they want is. And maybe they end up paying, but they still feel as though they've received that $2,000 or $3,000 because they've got that gift certificate to use, or they've got that value to use, depending upon how you do it. Maybe it's in a contract.
So, Steve, we were talking earlier about the idea of, so, you know, you go and maybe you can't find a chapter or something that isn't quite aligned with what you're looking for or what you need. So
yeah, that's happened to quite a few of my my coaching clients, and it seems to happen more in more of a rural area where there's low density populations, and that just gives you the opportunity to create your own. Because in most cases, we have a studio space, we have a shooting space. It's the perfect location for people to come and meet. You're then bringing people in, and then you're in control. You're making up the rules. You're selecting who you want. I had a client really take this on. He's created a business out of this.
You're in trouble. Could be a client, Steve.
Somebody from Ireland. I don't know who it is. He's created a business he's now created a business out of his networking, and he's now running his own wedding fairs. He's got venues on board because he didn't like the way that most wedding fairs were being run. And so he started creating smaller events, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And last time I spoke to him, he's now purchased his own wedding venue. He's the photographer. He runs wedding fairs. And this whole concept of, well, stop whining about the fact that you don't have a networking group and that you don't like any of the ones you've got. Why don't you just create your own? And it's become incredible for him.
And Steve, we've a client who's done this in a different way too, Nicole White in Scotland, you know?
Right.
Where
wow.
Do you remember, Nicole, we went to visit her new place.
What a beautiful place.
Oh, amazing. But she set up a networking group of women in business, which connects with her why and purpose of helping other women as well be successful in business. And now she not only do they meet every week, but they also have she's bought this premises, which we both saw, and some of those businesses that are in the network group are now renting space from her in her building, you know. But she makes sure
you're surrounding yourself with people that you want to be surrounded with, and they're going to support you. It's amazing.
Yeah. So there's so much opportunity out there. We just need to, I hate using that cliche, think outside the box, but we do, right? We just have to.
But I think the networking in particular, I think because a lot of the groups are set up for come in and refer somebody, try and come up with someone. I think we need to go beyond that and think about bringing on partners and bringing on partnerships rather than just that one a week or two a week. If you could go in and bring in one partnership a month or one partnership a quarter, depending upon the size of that partnership and depending upon how many bookings you need, then it's quite possible because you're not just tapping into that network, you're tapping into those people's networks outside of that network. And when you're up there and pitch for partnerships and how if people are looking for ways to reward their clients or to reward their employees, or if they're looking for ways to reward their clients for Christmas, come and see me, rather than pitching for one booking.
Yeah. Love it. So, Steve, if there was one master tip you would give in approaching how to network and how to do this, what would it be?
Get curious about other people. People love talking about their passion, love talking about their business. Don't be afraid to approach somebody if you're going in there with the intention of really getting curious about what they are passionate about. Because you only have to ask them a simple question and they'll keep talking.
And Steve, so many photographers are introverts, right? So isn't that a great tip? You know, that all you have to do is go up and ask one question and leave it to them. Reminds me when I'm having conversations with my dad, you know, he's an extreme extrovert. So I just have to go in and say, "Hi Dad, what do you think of?" And I just sit up and listen.
The afternoon's gone.
The afternoon's
gone. A beer, and you 5 beers later, you're still nodding your head and going, uh-huh.
I don't have to say anything. I just have to listen and nod and confirm that I'm listening.
And he's happy that his son come visit him and paid him so much attention.
There you go. But it's the same in this scenario, right? That everyone loves to talk about their business. Just give them the opportunity to talk about their business and then spot the opportunities.
Yeah. And go in there with the mindset of helping somebody create a better business.
Yeah. Win for everybody. It was fun.
It must be a win-win. And I think that's the second rule. We have to always go in there with a win-win approach where both sides win. We're not taking, we are giving more than we receive. That's the rule. And
both our clients win too, right? The partner that we partner with, their clients gain and our clients gain. So it's win. 4 wins.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on this podcast. I know you've got loads of value from it. If you want more from Steve and Jonathan and Brad and Jeanine and myself, click on the link below and come and join us in the inner circle. We'd love to see you there.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.